Okay, let's look at this question. So it says the jib of a crane. The jib of a crane is just this horizontal kind of beam that forms part of the crane. It's supported by the tower closer to one end, so typical crane arrangement here. But what that means is the crane can kind of rotate about, well, probably this point here that it could rotate around. But we're going to put our pivot up here just to make our life a little bit easier. And it says the jib itself is 30 meters long and has a weight of 5,000 newtons. Now you can see from the diagram that in this case it is uniform in its shape. So if it's 30 meters long, and I would always encourage you to do this, add anything else that you know. If it's uniform, that center of mass or center of gravity is going to be in the middle of that object. So 15 meters in from either side. And what we have then is we have two forces that we need the moments that they produce to be balanced. So we have our force, unknown force F that we have to work out here, which is 5 meters from the pivot. We then have our weight, 5,000 newtons. But the key thing is we need the distance that it is from the pivot. Now, we know that from the left-hand side out to that weight is 15 meters. We know this is 2, this is 5, which means the remainder of that distance, that's 7. This needs to be 8 meters. Okay, and then we have two forces, two distances, and it just becomes an easy anti-clockwise moment equals clockwise moment, principle of moments question. So we just write that down. Force times distance equals force times distance. So on the anti-clockwise side here, we have a force that's 5 meters away, and that's equal to the weight, which is 8 meters away from the pivot. Common mistake is not getting that distance right. Always go for the distance from the pivot. Then we have 5F equals 40,000. Divide both sides by 5. And that gives us that the weight on the left hand side there needs to be 8,000 to balance the crane. So like I said, it's all about getting the distances right at the start. And I'd spend time doing that and making sure you've got that correct before you try and do the calculations. But once you get to that stage, it's no harder than any of the questions we were doing closer to the start of this booklet.